remember, who was there, who were you speaking to, what kind of email did you receive, and then go back. So, okay, what brought me here? And then if you have to, usually you do, take another step back. Okay, but what brought me here? And another step back. What brought me here? So, you did see the red flags on the first date, didn't you? You're not gonna like me for this one, but you did see the red flags on the first date, didn't you? You didn't really like your boss on the first day of your job as well, didn't you? Yeah, we saw things, we felt things, and we either decided to ignore it, do something which wasn't the best. What was it? What brought me here? And I know we don't like to think about it. We don't like to think about it. We don't like to analyze. I wanted to put here on the presentation analyze, but I was like, oh no, this is a horrible word. You're not gonna like me for this. So, but yeah, we need to sometimes analyze our sad facts, unfortunately. And what am I gonna do about it next time? Very, very important. If I'd say this is one of the most important things. So number 2, write yourself down or remember it. One of the most important things, use in elite sport as well, use in business. I can't stress this enough. Okay, moving on. Third person perspective. Sounds pretty straightforward because it is. We are caught up in emotions. If something happens, we are emotional. Last time I received an angry email from a person at my university, and I was just like, oh, I wish I could do better. I wish I wasn't in that situation. I wish I didn't let people down. And I wasn't in the moment where I could speak to that person. And thankfully, because I probably wouldn't make the best decision at that time. So what I advise to my clients and what I use in my life is third person perspective, which is sometimes underestimated by many. It's actually seeking the answer, maybe not seeking the answer, but almost just supporting your answer with someone who is not as involved in the situation, who is not emotionally attached to it. So, if you had a fight with your dad, it's not the best to seek answer from your mom because, they're quite connected. So seeking the answer or not seeking the advice from someone who's not as connected to the situation or to a person, extremely crucial and extremely important and very valuable. But who is that person? A very important question as well, because we need to think about who is actually someone who has my best interest. And we think everyone does. I'll challenge that. I'll actually stick in one more tool for you in here, just as we're talking about it. You can write 5 people, just like how do I describe this? Put your hand on the paper instead of like draw your hand, and then in every finger, please write down the people who are the closest to you, your closest circle, your inner circle. And please think about whether those people are lifting you up or actually putting you down. It's a really nice exercise to realize how many people actually in our inner circle are there to lift us up, because there is that theme that's quite popular now, that we are who the 5 people of our inner circle is. But yes, we become very much aligned with our inner circle. But that's another one I just wanted to stick in. But third person perspective, very, very important. Another one, pitch. Okay, so this is an exercise. I hope you guys have a piece of paper with you, something to write on. I'll give you a few seconds, give you literally 5 seconds, so run now, because we're gonna do a little exercise. I'm gonna ask you 4 questions, and you're gonna have 10 seconds to answer each question. So just write down your answers. So the first part I was talking about, from 1 to 3, are actually the analysis and the hard part. Okay, the bottom list, 4, 5, and 6, are very much focused on your confidence and what you're doing about it. So I hope you guys are ready. I've got 4 questions for you. You've got 10 seconds to answer each question. All right? What unique trait of yours would compel a man or a woman to go out with you? 10 seconds. Okay, stop. What unique trait of yours would compel a client to have a first meeting with you? 10 seconds. Write as many as you can, as many as you can. Stop. What unique trait of yours would compel your child to do what you ask them to do? 10 seconds. It's a hard one, isn't it? I push you. Okay, stop. What unique trait of yours would compel a sponsor to support your new project? 10 seconds. Stop. Okay. How are we feeling? Any thoughts? Any thoughts in the comments? Let me know. So if you couldn't think of anything for one or more of those questions, don't worry, it's all right. You know, I really hope you did find some answers. And if you didn't write it down, don't worry, it's a process. Again, what Devi said, it is mental resilience and bouncing back is not so much a trait, but a process. So I wanted to start a bit of a process with you guys. Give me your thoughts in the comments, whether you find it useful as well. I do a lot with my clients. I think those are some of really, really nice exercises you can use to improve your confidence. And think about those traits, because those traits are very important for you because they came so quickly. They're embedded almost in you. Work on them, okay? So almost live on them. So it's almost like, yes, what Devi said before is work on your strengths, not only on your weaknesses, all right? Because that's your unique you. Okay, lovely. Jumping on to the 5th one, alphabet. I like that exercise. It's very simple, but actually when you sit down and think about it, it becomes quite challenging sometimes to some people. That's what I find with my athletes and with clients. So write down an alphabet, whatever language you're speaking, doesn't matter. Write down an alphabet, and next to every letter, write down your strength. Okay. So starting from A, B, C, D. B, brave. C, courageous. D, divine. I don't know. Very important exercise as well. You can make this, you can even stick it on the wall and sometimes read it. You can read it every day. If this comes hard to you to finish the alphabet, okay, we don't have time maybe for you to do this now, but I wanted to leave you with those tools so you can do them later. So if this exercise comes difficult for you to finish, stick it on the wall and read it every day. And don't think it's cliche, because it works, okay? It works in elite sport, it works in business, it works for young, old, whoever. So to wrap it up, the sixth tool is basically to have a name. Very straightforward. So we found ourselves in a difficult situation. We already have some idea of how we're talking to ourselves. We already have an idea of how we're managing it ourselves. What do we hear? Is it positive? Is it negative? We're trying to almost reframe it to hear some positive thoughts. We are thinking, what brought me here? What did I do to find myself in this situation? What can I do next time? Exactly, that's kind of an aim already, but let's stick with what brought me here. What was my first step that I took to make this situation happen? And I understand some situations are just out of our control, but again, we can have an impact on how this whole thing is going to go. And we learn different people, how they work and how they react to things. So again, third person perspective, crucial. Hopefully you've got some people who might help you. This might be a coach as well. That's probably one of, I don't want to say one of the best people, but yes, that would be probably the person who would have would have quite independent thinking of what happened. We then worked on our confidence. Make sure you have those traits of yours that we worked during the pitch part. Hopefully you're gonna write down your strengths alphabetically, but have an aim and actually think about that's we're circling back to what brought me here is really, what can I do about it next time? And that sucks sometimes, but we have to do it. We have to do it. And listen, those are not groundbreaking tools. I know. They're very simple, but very effective. So what can I do about it? How can I avoid this next time? And again, please don't get caught up in this motion of, oh, but I couldn't do anything. There's always something we can do, okay, to avoid the negative situation or the challenge or adversity. Well, there's always okay. There are moments where there was an accident, we couldn't do much. I'm talking more long term. I'm talking more long term challenges and adversity, where we actually had to make decisions. Again, what brought me here? What can I do about it? What brought me here? What can I do about it? It's hard, but it works. Right, guys, thanks so much. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. Devi, if you've got some questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. And let me know how you found the exercises. How was your talk, whether it's negative or positive? Do you ever think about the steps of what brought me here? Do you have a third person in your life? Did you like the pitch, the alphabet? And I hope you enjoyed. So my name is Beata Kaminska. I'm a mental performance coach, and I hope I helped you today. Thank you. Oh, Devi, you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Thank you, Beata, for that interesting presentation. And the questions, what you put as an exercise, it's really interesting. But we're waiting to hear from people about the response. We can wait, and you can wait behind the stages. And if there is any response in the comment box, you can respond to the people if you wanted to add any questions. Yeah, and from me there's no questions, but I would like to apologize that the starting point of the show was not live in the YouTube, what I was talking, but it's recorded, so I would inform our people, viewers, and also signed up for the webinar, that the recorded version would be updated to this webinar and posted. And thank you, Beata. And now I'm going to invite I'm going to remove you from the stage and invite Camilla to the stage. Thank you for your presentation. Okay. Now, welcome, Camilla. So the floor is all yours in another few seconds. And I'm having the pleasure to invite you to this particular topic about the self-care. And we're waiting to hear what you're going to say to us. Yeah. And I'll remove myself over to the stage.
Thank you. Hello, welcome everybody. I would like to give you a taster of benefits of massage therapy and the treatments. In my 15 years of experience as a massage therapist, I found that we are so busy working hard to provide for ourselves and our family that we not often think about our own needs to be healthy, balanced, and in control of our life. The general perception of massage treatment is a one-off luxury treat that we won't even have thought about in our busy lifestyle. We have them when we are on holiday, in a spa retreat. We receive vouchers from loved ones for birthday and Christmas. Normally, massage is not on the list of priorities in our life. That changes when we get so stressed that our muscles are so tense, what causes headaches, back pain from posture problems, sleeping issues, appearance of first symptoms of anxiety and depression. We do try to use over-the-counter painkillers, thinking that will help and try to get on with our day. Only when those fail, we remember that there are persons like myself that can help in alleviating physical symptoms of all the above. Okay, am I right? Is it the way you see massage yourself? Can you let us know in the comments what is your perception of massage in your life? That would be really helpful. All the years of my career, I have seen persons for all sorts of ailments. They come to me saying, I don't know what to do. Can you help me, please? Then I have consultation to establish what is that they come to me with. And we start by getting to know each other and their issues and address them step by step. Unfortunately, when we are in a position, one treatment won't fix the issue as some clients expect. To get to the point, sometimes there is a long time of ignoring the symptoms that with time become disruptive in our life. Hence, we look for help in alternative ways. Funny thing. Male clients are very keen to hitting the problems with the proverbial hammer and get rid of it in one go, not understanding that it takes a similar time to address the problem as it did to acquire it. Female clients are opposite to that. Did you know that their body is similar to, wait for it, a car that you do look after? Service it, change filters, oil, etc., to make sure it works well and doesn't break. Our body is like a car too, in some ways. The older we are, the more we need care and ways of staying healthy, mobile, and independent. It requires more than just filling the tank and driving. Massage is one of the pieces of the well-being puzzle that will help us going for longer. But we have to start somewhere. I see first improvements in my clients already after the first treatment. When I see them tired, wearing their shoulders on their ears from the tension of upper body, I can't wait to help them elevate it. The journey starts with every stroke of my hands on their skin, warming up the muscles to get into the deeper layers. I build trust, explaining what I'm doing, and their body works with me to start implementing the movement and change. I'm fascinated by how each of us is different. What also challenges me to provide personal treatment that will work specifically for that person. Despite the differences, the benefits of massage treatments are so vast. When the treatment is finished, I can see that improvements have started happening. The warmth created by friction on the skin with use of massage balm infused with essential oils will penetrate the skin and bloodstream and carry on relaxation after the client has gone home. The most beneficial time to have treatment is the late afternoon, evening, when you don't have more work to do, but just time to relax and go to sleep. Then the oils will carry on helping the body regenerate, sleep better, more toxins out of the body by drinking plenty of water. Already the client can feel improvement in circulation as we brought blood to the top layers of the skin. We decreased some of the muscle stiffness and their shoulders has dropped and are more relaxed. During the next 3 days, the body will carry on improving by regenerating the muscle tissue. Keep getting rid of the waste that was released from the muscles. Decreased joint inflammations has been noticed. Better quality sleep, quicker recovery between workouts, improved flexibility, less pain and soreness after next treatments. I keep close contact with my clients and message them asking how they are feeling during the next 3 days after the treatment. Most of them report improvement in sleep on the first night after the treatment. They are achy, but in a good way, I hope, and started to change a habit that brought them to me in the first place. For example, it can be integrating more breaks and stretches in a day, drink more water, give their body time to relax and unwind before bed, change a diet that causes inflammation. That's just a couple of examples. There are so many examples of how many people on the planet are also different. But we do need similar changes implemented in our lives to improve it so we can be more functional for longer. Depending on the issue, I do recommend starting with a minimum treatment every 2 weeks for a few months. And when the problem slowly starts to resolve, then have a maintenance once a month. My clients slowly start to resolve them. My clients report that their body starts tensing and aching as if it knows it is time for the treatment and showing where it would like to be pressed, manipulated, compressed to help in further healing and improvement. There are also emotion benefits to massage treatments. After treatment, we feel as if we have just woken up. We don't show signs of anxiety or stress. As we are relaxed, our mood is improved. With time, our confidence and self-image increase. These improvements are all thanks to the hormones as secretion increases during massage treatment. Endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin go up, and levels of hormones of stress like cortisol, epinephrine, and norepinephrine goes down. What can reduce anxiety, fatigue, stress, and physical and mental strain, improves focus, as well as lessening irritability. Massage stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system and the release of feel-good hormones, which we already mentioned. The parasympathetic nervous system is activated by rest and relaxation. As physical touch stimulates the parasympathetic nerves, your body will naturally slow its heart rate. Subsequently, your breathing will slow down and your blood pressure will lower. Stimulating parasympathetic state helps heal health conditions and regenerate and regulate an emotional response of happiness. Some of my clients' issues are rooted much deeper than in the surface of the muscles. My intuition usually shows me that the person I'm treating is suffering from a trauma from the past that wasn't solved or dealt with, but they don't realize that might be influencing the way their body reacts and storing it in the body tissue. That is only one example. Often my clients experience a type of release on physical or emotional level. With each treatment, we do get to know each other, and the client learns what to expect from me, what builds trust and relaxation for the time they are treated by me. I know I can work with their body to provide the release, with their permission, of course. The physical release is very noticeable by clients, as they can feel how their body reacts to warmth of my hands, pressure and compression of a trigger points. They can hear it pop when the pocket of lactic acid is released from the muscle tissue to the bloodstream in the process. The best emotional positive release that I've encountered so far is client crying. They explain that they feel like I've opened something that was hidden for a long time, and they were not aware of it, still causing issues. That, combined with conversation to get to the bottom of it, does make a difference to their lives. At that point, I assess if they need to help from a different practitioner to carry on the journey to release and dealing with the surfaced issues. There are also persons that cry but don't know why, which intrigues them, and with next treatments, they discover the reason, what helps us to carry on healing on spiritual and physical levels. Massage treatment is only a part of many tools that can be used to help with modern world issues like lack of resilience, affecting a body and mind that we are dealing with daily. So the question is, in this situation, in the topic that we are talking about today, resilience, is a massage really worth it? I would say, I think yes. Massage therapy is safe and effective for people of all ages. It's not only a feel-good way to indulge or pamper yourself, it's a powerful tool to help you manage change of your health and well-being, and whether that you have a specific health condition or are looking for a stress reliever. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you took something out of that. And I've changed a little bit of your mind on the topic of massage treatments and help in your resilience. So back to you, Davy.
Thank you, Camilla. And that is actually an in-depth explanation with a touching kind of description in a very poetic manner. It's like hearing a story there. And you have actually given us more insights about the impact of massage on our body in a positive way, like it actually removes pain from our body, and it actually rewires our mental, and people actually conversing with you. It's a one way of counseling support you're providing to them as well while they are with you, and with the trust they are actually there for you, with you for the massage, and in a relaxed manner that actually takes away the post-traumatic stress to a certain degree. Am I right? And if you could tell us, like, how frequently you advise people to have massage, because you deliver massage to different variety of conditions and a variety of people as well. Yeah, people come for massage as one of their self-care and a leisure manner, and sometimes people in pain come to you. Yeah, sometimes people in trauma come to you. Yeah, so what is that? I understand, like, there's no defined version of number of sets of massage, and I'm actually not actually having an affiliate marketing done here for your massage therapy anyway, but just to give the audience a feel, like, how frequently, if they could go for massage, it's one of the self-care, it's one of the respect they are paying to their body. Yeah, so how would you advise? It's a big question, but it's actually in a way that I wanted to convey to people, like, the importance of massage, and if you could come out from your side, how frequently you would advise people to have massage.
As you mentioned, it all depends what is the issues. If it's issue that we can work on and is something very minor, I would say for twice a month to start off with, which is a minor thing. And then obviously each treatment, we see how the person is improving, if it's improving at all. And then just once a month to just keep it maintained and make sure that we keep on top of it. And then obviously talk to them about stretching, about exercising, changing the diet, or many other things that people open up to me after first treatment. Is they're a little bit nervous, comprehensive, and they don't really want, or maybe they don't really know what's the issue. And then when I ask them questions while we do the medical form, and I find out about their health, about their mental health. And then it's sometimes when the head is in the cradle, they do open up and then come up with different things. And that helps me, obviously, to make the treatment very personal to them. And then I know what to do next. Or, as I mentioned in the talk, like yourself, go in collaboration with different therapists on different manners. If it's anxiety or depression, or they need some kind of other help, then I do obviously refer them to people that I do trust, and they get help. So that's why I call myself holistic therapy. So I don't just do a massage treatment. I do try to answer their needs on spiritual, maybe not, but maybe mental and sort of physical level. So I hope I achieve that.
Thank you. Thank you for actually sharing about the frequency of massage and what connection, a meaningful connection you build with your clients, and remaining more confidential and trustful as well at the same time. Yeah. Thank you, Camilla. And I would remove from the stage now, and you can sit back, and any questions in the comment box, please do respond to audience. So yeah, great. So now, viewers, I'm going to welcome our next speaker with pleasure, Mr. Michael Earl, international speaker and a well-being consultant. And thank you, Michael, for taking your time and being present with us here.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Debbie. And all the previous speakers have gone ahead, have been amazing. So I've got 20 minutes. So I'm just looking at the clock now, right, 20 past 12. I just want to check that I can get everything fitted in. Fantastic. Brilliant.
Thank you. And I'll give the floor to you. And just to mention the topic, don't be in a pressure. And we are looking forward for what are the plans for cultivating the resilience for us. And wait to hear that. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. And will you be doing the slides for me?
Yeah, I'm going to share.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Great. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Michael Earl. My career background is social care. So I was a social worker for 15 years. And now I work as a mental health practitioner, and I run my own wellbeing consultancy. So we've got 20 minutes, and I'm going to get straight into it and look at how we can cultivate resilience, because the other speakers have talked about really good tools that we can use. So I'm going to try and introduce you to some practices that we can use to cultivate your resilience. Now, the first slide that we can see, it's about always taking your lunch break. And I'm going to explain that title, and then you'll see why that's really important as I go through my talk. So always take your lunch break is a talk and a presentation that I developed about 7 years ago now. But it's really been a very powerful concept that people are beginning to understand, and the importance. And it's about self-care. So the always take your lunch break title is about self-care. And people say, why is it always called to always take your lunch break? And it's because it's a practice that myself as a professional always do. And there is actual research to show that taking a lunch break in the middle of your working day is actually beneficial for you. It actually improves your productivity. So contrary to some people's beliefs and some understandings that, you shouldn't take a lunch break and you should just work through your lunch, that is actually counterproductive. If you go through your working day without taking a break somewhere in the middle, your productivity actually dips and you get less productive because you haven't taken a break. Basically, the act of taking a lunch break allows your brain to refresh, and obviously you have to eat as well. So physically you need to eat, you need to replenish the body and replenish the mind. So taking a lunch break in your work day is actually a very positive thing to do. So that's one thing I want you to remember. The other thing that I want you to remember as we're talking about cultivating resilience is that I very much specialize on well-being. And hopefully at the end of the presentation, if you don't take away anything else, I'd like you to really focus on making your well-being a non-negotiable priority. And I will talk about that a little bit more as we go through this presentation. So we're looking about cultivating resilience. Can I have the next slide, please, Debbie? Slide number 2. Okay. Right, so the second slide, it should say, good information is like glue. It only works if you apply it. And the reason I've mentioned that is because we're going to get a lot of, or we've had a lot of information. There's going to be more information coming, but it really doesn't make any sense if you're not going to apply it. So really want to encourage you to make notes if you're making some notes or taking some hints and tips from the speakers. Slide number 2, which is the good information one. That is really, really important, because you need to take the information that is relevant for yourself, because we're all on a different part of our journey, on our well-being journey and cultivating our resilience. So you need to apply some of the information that you've taken in today. Otherwise, it really doesn't make any sense. And so that was slide number 2, Debbie. No problem.
Sorry, Michael, just
That's
we
all
have
right.
some very slow internet connection and the slides,
Okay,
and apologies for that.
that's all right.
I just came on the slide on the stage. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt your session.
No, that's okay.
Just actually trying to check here whether you can actually.
Yeah.
I see that the slide has gone for the.
Yeah. So actually, slide number 3 would be great, actually, Debbie.
Slide number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, the third one.
And
the next one down.
Next one down.
Yeah, and the next one. That's the one. Yeah, here we go. That's perfect. Thank you.
Thank
Right.
you.
Now I'm going to talk about the 5 ways of well-being, because they're really important. Now, the 5 ways of well-being, you may or may not have heard of them. If you haven't, I'm going to explain where they come from. Now, this was developed in 2008 by the New Economics Foundation, and they were brought in by the UK government in 2008 to put together a set of strategies to help people look after their well-being. So this is something that was brought in by the government, and it's really, really very, very positive, because they're looking at how can we get people to use everyday things, everyday practices to help build their resilience and look after their well-being. And what they came up with is this word, which is clang, which is C-L-A-N-G. And if you break down each of the letters for that word, it actually describes one of the practices of the 5 ways of well-being. And I'm going to share that with you now, because I use this a lot with a lot of my clients, a lot of the organizations that I speak to, and it really resonates with them. So number 1 is connect. So when we talk about connecting, we're talking about connecting with our friends and family. We've all experienced the pandemic, and we know how difficult that was. And one of the reasons why it was so difficult was because of the isolation, the actually incurred isolation. We couldn't go out, we couldn't connect with people, and people's mental health suffered during the pandemic. And one of the main reasons for the suffering was the disconnection, the disconnect. We couldn't physically go out and meet each other. So connecting is a really powerful part of building our well-being and looking after ourselves. So C for connect is the first part of the 5 ways of well-being. Now, L is the second one for learn or learning. And by learning, we don't just mean studying. We don't mean just getting an education. Learning can be a way of developing new methods or ways, for example, of going to your workplace. So instead of driving the constant route that you always go, try to find another pathway, another way of getting there. Or maybe in your local area, if you're used to driving, don't drive, actually get out and walk around your local area and find out and discover some new places in your local area. So it's about learning new things, not just academics, maybe learning to bake or to sing, joining a choir. So keeping the brain active by learning something new is another way of building your well-being and cultivating your resilience. A is for active, and that stands for activity, exercise. Again, it's proven a lot of research about the benefits of physical exercise on your mental health. Exercising can actually reduce anxiety and stress. So that physical exercise actually not only benefits your body, but it benefits your mind as well. And these are tools that you can use every day. And when I say exercising, it doesn't mean you have to go to the gym. You might want to go for a walk in your local area. Some people like to swim. It's any type of activity that raises your heart rate and allows you to sweat a little bit. So physical activity is very, very important for improving and increasing your cultivating your resilience, because we're talking about cultivating resilience, so building about it. Because Devi talked about what it is, what resilience is. What we're doing today is looking at the tools you can use to build and cultivate that resilience. So N is for notice. And by notice, we mean looking around your everyday surroundings, just being a little bit more attentive to what's around you. Because again, sometimes we can go through our day and all we're focused in on going to work, coming home. This is about maybe, if you can, getting out into nature, going for a walk in a local green space, paying attention to the things around you, maybe your neighbors. Again, that goes with connecting. Just saying hello to friends nearby, but noticing what's around you, because sometimes we're so busy getting on with our day, we don't take notice of the small things, the things that are around us. And again, this is proven to show that if we do take notice, it improves not just our well-being, but mental capacity as well. So noticing what's around us, being aware of your surroundings, is also another way that we can build our well-being and cultivate that resilience. And the last one on this slide is G for giving. So giving, again, research has shown, is a really positive way of boosting our immune system, interestingly, because it releases endorphins. When we give and help people, we get that positive feeling inside of us, and it triggers off positive mental feelings as well. So giving back to the community, you could be things like volunteering, or maybe giving to charity, or maybe giving some time to a neighbor to help a neighbor out. So that's a really nice way of giving. So all these practices are things that we can do to cultivate our resilience. Just going to go to the next slide, Devi. Right. I think that you actually talked about breath work, Devi, and we're actually going to do some right now. So this is a method called square breathing. And what square breathing is you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and you repeat again. Now, the benefits of square breathing is that you can actually reduce anxiety, reduces stress, and also reduces your heart rate. If your heart is racing, you can use this breathing method to actually bring down and lower your heart rate. So let's just do that now. It's really simple. You can do it sitting down. You can do it on the bus, in your car, if you're just waiting in a traffic jam. No one needs to actually know that you're doing it, because you can do it really, really easily. And let's just try it now. Okay, so try it with me. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. And breathe out for 4 seconds last time. That simple practice, I use it all the time. I share it with my clients, and they have told me how effective that is, especially if you've just come out of maybe a very tense meeting, or just finished a very tense business call, or maybe had an argument at home with somebody. Do the square breathing method technique. It will help to lower the tension, reduce the heart rate, and cultivate your resilience. So these are everyday practices that you can do in your everyday life. You don't need a textbook, don't need special equipment. You can do this with all the equipment you have with your body and your mind. You can build and cultivate resilience. The next slide, Devi, is underneath. If you could pop onto that one for me. That'd be amazing. And that's the pause on purpose. And I'm going to explain what this is. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very weary of my time. Right. Pause on purpose is a practice that I have cultivated and I'm sharing with a lot of my clients. And I'm going to describe what this is about. Now, pause on purpose is about creating a space between the stimuli and your response, or a question and your response. Let's break it down even more, okay? So the situation could go like this. Maybe you're in work, your boss comes along to you and says, oh, look, Michael, I've got this really urgent piece of work. I need you to do it now. Can you do it now for me? Just put everything aside and do it now. Now, our automatic response to this is to say, yes, I can do it. Let me get on with that for you. I'll take it on. But, and I'm sure a lot of you can identify with this, sometimes we do take on more work than we can actually handle. So what the practice of pause on purpose is advising you to do is actually just to create a bit of space before you answer. So you could say a phrase like, okay, just give me a chance to have a look at my diary so I can check what I'm doing at the moment, and I'll get back to you and let you have your answer. Rather than jumping straight in, saying yes, overcommitting, and causing yourself unnecessary stress. Now, again, a lot of my clients have said that this has been an actual lifesaver, because when they practice it, they actually see what answer they should be giving, rather than just saying yes, yes, yes to everything that their boss or their job is demanding from them. Because if we do that, we can then be susceptible to burnout and overload, and then nothing gets done. And if you become sick because you've got too much to do and stress, then it's really, really not what we're looking for. So pause on purpose, or POP as I like to call it, allows you to create a little bit of space before you give your answer. And I actually did this last week. I had a situation where somebody offered me a really great job opportunity. And it sounded very exciting. And I almost said yes on the spot, but I said, hang on a minute, let me just go and talk to a few people, talk to family. And there was someone I needed to talk to discuss the situation. And I said, I'll get back to you. And I created a space before I gave my answer. And then I gave my answer to them just a few days ago. So pause on purpose is a really practical tool that you can use at home, in the business place, to build and cultivate your resilience and prevent you from taking on too much work, because sometimes you may not have the capacity to actually take that work on. And it's better to give a truthful answer than to overload yourself, which will actually deplete your resilience levels. So we'll talk about cultivating resilience, and these are tools that you can practically use to help yourself building that culture, your cultivating your resilience, okay, which is amazing. Going to go down to the next slide, please, Debbie. Yeah, here we go. This is the ABC of how to take your lunch break. As I said earlier, taking a lunch break is research proven to improve your productivity, not decrease it, improves it. But there's a certain way, and this is the formula that I share with my clients. It's the ABC of how to take your lunch break. A stands for away from your desk or area of work. If you can, I know it's not always possible, but if you can, move away from the place where you work. Do not, if you can, do not eat your lunch at your desk or your area of work, because you will be tempted to do some work. Have a sandwich at your desk, the email pops up, and then you say, oh, I'll just answer this email. The next thing you know, you're not having a lunch break, you're working. So A for away from your desk or area of work. B stands for break from technology. If you can, again, stop working on the computer, turn your phone off, put it on silent just for the time that you're having your lunch break. The world will not end. And if anyone calls you, they can leave a message. If you're on call, that's different. I understand you have to keep your phone on. But if you can, break from technology, get away from the screen, turn your mobile phone off, and just enjoy having your lunch. Okay? And C is connect with nature. If you can, if it's possible, I know the weather in the UK isn't fantastic, but if you're in a day where there's a little bit of sunshine or it's not raining, try to get outdoors. Try to get a little bit of fresh air, breathe in some fresh air during your lunch break. Or if that's not possible, make sure you're able to be by a window where you can see outside. You can see some blue sky, get some sunlight, and just make sure that you can connect with nature in some way. So that's your ABC framework for having lunch, taking a lunch break. A for away from your desk, B for break from technology, and C for connect with nature. Thank you. Could I have the next slide, please, Debbie? Right, here we go. And I'm very conscious of my time. This slide is about doing nothing. Michael, what are you talking about? I'm talking about doing nothing. We live in a very stressful world. We're always having demands put on us. But this phrase, which is dolce fa niente, it's an Italian phrase called the pleasure of doing nothing. Dolce fa niente. So we have to find times in our day where we can just switch off, do nothing, maybe read a book, relax, or as Camilla said, maybe go and book yourself a massage. Have some personal time. And actually, I have a massage once a month, Camilla, actually. So, and maybe I need to come and see you, but I do have one once a month. I can guarantee that it works. So dolce fa niente is the ability to enjoy doing nothing. And that's another problem. We get so caught up with the stresses of life, things to do. There's always a to-do list. There's always a to-do list. Dolce fa niente says, you know what? Take some time for yourself, relax, and don't feel guilty about it. This is how you cultivate resilience. If you don't do these things, you won't be able to stand or to have the resilience when the pressure comes, because you need to build in well-being practices into your everyday life. And the number one thing, if you're working, is to make sure that you always take your lunch break. So dolce fa niente, get used to doing nothing. Don't try and find things to do. If you've got nothing to do for 10 minutes, sit down, relax, have a drink, read a book. Dolce fa niente, the joy of doing nothing. So just a quick recap before I finish. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you picked something up from today. It was really lovely speaking to you. But what I want to say is, make sure that if you're at work, if you're working in your work day, always take your lunch break. I tell my clients to put their lunch break in as an appointment. Yes, a literal appointment in their diary. Taking your lunch break is an appointment you keep with yourself. So always take your lunch break. That will help to cultivate your resilience. Don't overwork, because as you work without taking a break, your productivity will deplete. You will not get better. You'll get worse. You need to take a lunch break. Thank you so much for listening. You've been amazing. And no time for feedback. We've got to get on to the next speaker. But I hope that you've taken at least a couple of things away. Those are my contact details if you want to contact me, and I'll be around for the Q&A. But thank you so much. And remember, whatever you do, always take your lunch break. Thanks very much, Debbie. Oh, you're on mute.
Well, thank you for reminding that. Thank you. So, thank you, as I was mentioning earlier, for your time and also filling us with this valuable resources. And I like this square breathing, which you connected the mind and body together, and which is a very quick recovery point. Which it is any number of times a reminder will be worth mentioning, and we have myself and yourself are mentioned frequently. So hopefully, our audience are getting that. And also, I like this pause on purpose, which is equivalent to setting self boundaries for ourselves, isn't it? Like sometimes we are
Absolutely.
more compassionate, overly compassionate, that we put our down low and put others first, and we end up in a mental burnout. And that's thank you for that reminder. And I like that pause on purpose, POP. And you also mentioned the ABC at work, which is very much useful. And I myself actually have the lunch on my desk sometimes, and sometimes I go out, but it is a good reminder to have that. Yes, we have to be staying out of our desk space so that we realize the value of our self-care. Yeah, thank you, Michael, for that. And I don't see any questions yet, but I would wait for the questions on this flow for the next 5 minutes, and I'll bring up all the speakers now. And all our amazing speakers have delivered valuable resources, and I'm waiting here for the questions from audience who's watching right now. And while we are waiting on the flow, can Beata actually fill us with if someone is actually, especially the younger population, transition from the higher secondary to the university, the anxiety and kind of feeling like their self low or having a fear of success, what would you suggest for them as a mental resilience? Because they needed a lot of mental resilience to survive in that new environment of university. So what would you, and you have been on my podcast before earlier, and you shared your experience, and people can visit that podcast later on. But what would be a quick tip for those young people?
The first question I would ask them is, why do you do this? Do you do it for yourself, or do you do it for someone else? Because if you do it for your parents or for fame, I don't know, then it's gonna be difficult because there's no intrinsic motivation here. There's no drive within you. Really, it's very much external reward that you're seeking. But why do you do this? Do you love what you study? You don't have to be in love with it, but you should be interested at least, hopefully. So yeah, that would be my first question, very much to find out the motivation of the person, and then work on what's the worst that could happen, what's holding you back. Well, just finding out really what are the triggers maybe, or the difficulties that we might encounter, and how to face them, and not shy away from them, not put anything under the carpet, but to actually have some skills to face them in the future. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So what I understand is you want them, you're telling them to focus on the purpose, why they are in the university, and what is the value they are going to get out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking value not only uh, just studying, but meeting new people, meeting people from around the world, having connections, and traveling. There's so many you can think about. It's not only due to what you're gonna study, but definitely, yeah, finding out why you want to do it.
Yeah, thank you, Beata. And Camilla, I already asked you a question as while we're waiting for a question from the audience. And Michael also mentioned that he has massage once in a month, and so the frequency of massage we spoke about. In terms of as yourself as a human, like how do you protect yourself from some traumatic stories? What you hear from people, how do you protect yourself? Because to focus on your mental health. Yeah. So the self-care is very, very important. So how could you share that a little bit if you're comfortable? You're muted.
Sorry. Can
Thank
you hear
you.
me now?
Apologies. We all do that. I did a couple of times in this today. Yeah, great.
It's quite good subjects because we all want to help other people, and sometimes we put our needs on the back burner and not really think about ourselves. But our body also screams and say, "Oh, my back hurts. I've been doing too much. I need to go and see somebody to give me a massage." But believe me, that is very, very difficult when you've been specializing in something, like, for example, myself in massage, and I go somewhere else and I say what I expect or what I need, and that doesn't happen, is quite, gives a little bit of bad taste, if that's and it doesn't help me. It makes me more frustrated. So sometimes I do try to learn different techniques to help myself, like stretching. Regular stretching is very important. I get more and more customers that where they are at the moment with the pain and issues with the posture, lots of things could be really, really gone and dusted, and they wouldn't have to come and see me by doing simple stretching and finding, like Michael said, finding some times for ourselves, because as I've mentioned in my talk, we are so busy running after that pound signs, and work is always the first in line and very important. But we do need to step back and say, okay, my body's telling me I can't sleep. What is the reason for that? Why my body hurts? Do I need any supplements? Do I need anything else? And anything that can help me with solving this. Then when we provide what we need for the body, then the issues is solved. But as I say, it's not always that easy. But with myself, I've got a little helper, which is a massage chair cushion. Is my sort of lifesaver. And you would be really surprised, but I've got a walking stick that I use to massage myself with. So yeah, quite weird tools.
That's a little tip for us, actually. Yeah, so you can have your self-massage helper stick. Yeah, good. And apart from actually the massage part of it, like developing the mental resilience, it's like something which you believe internally. Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, which didn't go live but it's recorded, I can actually share later on. So tools like posture affirmation, visualization, and expressing gratitude in journaling. Would you agree? Would both of you agree? And I see that Michael is missing on the stage. I might actually add him back on the stage. So would you three of you agree, like those kind of little activities should become a part of our daily life in order to understand our own self, our values, our belief system? Anyone can go first, whether Michael or Camilla or Beata.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And that's the whole point. Well-being is a daily practice. It's not something you do as a one-off. And that's what I try to tell my clients, that they need to build practices into their everyday lives. And if you're working, the simplest one is to take a lunch break. That's the starting point. Because people work through their lunch and they think they're really making progress, but actually they're not, and they're damaging themselves and their productivity goes down. So there's a double loss. So it's not really worth it. And the other thing financially is that you actually don't get paid to work your lunch break. And I calculated roughly based on the average UK wage, if you don't take a lunch break, you're giving your workplace about an additional, I think it was £2,300 a month, because it's an hour you're not paid for. So what is the point? So you lose all round. So that's why I tell people, if you're working, take a lunch break. It's yours. There's no point. There's no point working through the lunch. You're not getting paid for it.
Yeah, true. Thanks, Michael, for sharing. And any one of you wanted to share, like, do you also agree, like the positive affirmation, journaling, expressing gratitude to be a part of your life, everyday life, to build up mental resilience?
I think it's the everyday, isn't it? It's the small things, like taking your lunch break, actually stepping back a little bit from even from exciting opportunities. It's the everyday. It's how you take your coffee. It's how you have breakfast. That counts, because that's 98% of our life at the end. It's not the big events. It's how we live our lives every day. And I think that's the biggest part of well-being, and then how we handle the difficult times. So yeah, that's from me. I'd say that's from my side.
Thanks, Beata. And how about Camilla? How do you see about mindful living?
As you can imagine, I've got people coming to me and say, "Oh, I want a treatment now, and can you just be done with, like I said, with a proverbial hammer, just smash it all and get it out, get the knots out, and I'm gonna be all fine after an hour." And I just explain people that doesn't work, because it's a process, it's a puzzle, it's a one little part of their well-being, like Michael say about taking lunch break. They're being mindful about what you do every day, what it got you to the place where you are, just to address those issues. But we have to go back and actually think about it. And it's like, okay, why did you do this? How do you do this? You know, simple things, but sometimes the little things do help. Like, I see people on a regular basis and they come to me, and then like I said in the talk, we do discover certain traumas and things that they've been sort of stored in their shoulders, clenching, and they can feel, when we start talking about something, I can feel their body reacting and tensing up again. And then I know this is the trigger that we need to sort out, like I said. And then I speak to persons like, for example, Devi, about mental health and anxiety and depression issues. But I do tell people to do journaling quite often, to do this gratitude. Like before they go to bed, they've got a little notepad by the bed, and they just write down simple 3 things that they're grateful for that day. And can be simple things, a smile of the child on the child faces when they've been given breakfast, or smiling to somebody walking past in the supermarket, for example, and say hello, and they look at you and it's like, oh, what's going on? I love that. I do that all the time, and it's amazing because they smile back and it's like, oh, hello. And you take them out of that sort of looking at the phone or being in their own sort of little bubble. But those 3 things, and then they look back through the pages when they've got a really, really bad day, and they say, okay, okay. So all those good things and what I'm grateful for, and it brings them back up into sort of level. I think that's how I think, and that's what I've been getting feedback from my customers.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Camilla. And this is a moment to express my gratitude to all 3 of you for being here and sharing your valuable experience and taking time to put together all this in a presentation and presenting to our audience and sharing your value with our community. So thank you for that. And this would be a live, and so the live is already there, as I mentioned already for audience. The earlier part, which has not been live, will be actually uploaded later on. And as promised, we hold our promises for the free ebook, the Resilience Toolkit, and that will be emailed for people who have registered and whose email has been registered in the funnel. And thank you, everyone. And we will see in the next webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.